because I usually get the thing. There it is. There it is. Whoop, there it is.
I know,
Hi, Miri.
So we keep talking about trauma and how the symptom is not the issue.
The issue is never the issue, right?
The symptom is never the issue.
Sorry, say that again.
The symptom is never the issue.
No, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. That's exactly it. Like if it's, in my case specifically, snakes were what I was phobic of, but it was trauma that had nothing to do with snakes, but it had to do with being a child who was trying to manage emotions that are way too big for a child to manage. And so they were just sort of like roiling inside of me, like bouncing around, trying to find something, because the human brain always wants to make sense of things. And so it was trying to figure out, what is all of this emotion? What is it about? And at some point, I suspect, I have no idea, but I suspect I was picking blackberries and the snake startled me, and all of that emotion just attached to a garden snake. I was startled and it gave it reason, like, oh, fear is a thing, or startle, and so it all attached to that. And then all of my trauma response was attached, not all of it, I shared some around, but a massive portion of it affixed itself to snakes. And I was completely phobic, to the point that I couldn't even say the word snake. I couldn't see a rope that looked like a snake. I couldn't see a photo of them. It was terrible. I was terrible. And it was all due to a trauma response that had nothing to do. I mean, snakes are gross, don't get me wrong. But since my hypnotherapy, I am free. I can go on hikes. I can go in pet stores. I can be where snakes are. I'm still never going to touch one or have a pet snake, but I'm in control of it now. And that's true. Like those triggers, I have so many things with my clients, whether it's a fear that manifests some way, or a behavior, or an aversion, and when we're discussing it and we find out what, we take the symptom, like whatever that symptom is, a revulsion, a behavior, a fear, like any of those things, even a physical manifestation with, migraines or random pains, like all of those things can be trauma induced.
So when we talk about trauma and hypnosis, we talked before that one of your go-to is to do regression, to go back to the root cause. And this is also what I usually do, going to the root cause. And most often we find out that it's nothing too terrible that happened.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's like trauma that a person knows about, like they've had they know that they had a, dysfunctional childhood. But there's other times where it's almost a non-event. But in that moment, it created an unpleasant emotion, which affixed itself to something random. It's often not even connected, not remotely connected.
So let me just correct myself, because I just noticed that I said something that is not really, that is quite terrible. So it's not that often we find out that it's not a big deal, but as you said and emphasized, when we don't know why it happened, and when it's related to something that, like, there is no reason for us to be anxious about, then we often find out that it wasn't a big deal at that time. However, just to correct myself and clarify, sometimes we know what started it.
Yes.
If something very specific caused us trauma, if we were in the middle of a big event that caused us trauma, yes, in that case, of course, we know the reason, and the reason is big indeed.
Yes, yes. But like think about um a toddler, right? Like the thing is about most of these things, most of these trauma responses, which end up being symptoms that a client will come to us for, they start before our client's 5th birthday. And so then if you think about the disposition of a toddler or a child up to the age of 5, I mean, if a child is over hungry or overtired or even needs to poop, everything is a big trauma to them. You give them the wrong color cup and they can, have a tantrum, and so regulating those emotions are too big for a child to manage. And so, as they are being, the attempt at processing emotion makes it unstable as it affixes to something, which can create bad habits. It can create, responses. It can create anxiety. So insomnia, like all of those things can be the response. I have worked with clients who suffered debilitating headaches due to schoolyard bullying, which is no small thing. Bullying is no small thing. But the person with unable to manage it turned it into a self-punishment, and the pain that came from that, and it was so rewarding to help my client through it, to make sense of those emotions, to process them back in the moment that they occurred through regression, and to feel powerful and to be able to reassess themselves in a positive light instead of personalizing and internalizing the criticism from a bunch of jackass school kids, and so it's so empowering. Or, my client who had a lifelong bad habit, of sucking their thumb because their grandmother had just swaddled them too tight. And even in the regression, when my client was experiencing the emotion, it was in the shoulders. The shoulders were like crushed in. And my client didn't even know if it was like the grandma kind of being over aggressive, or maybe even just like trying too hard to swaddle, whatever the reason was, it resulted in a negative experience for the person. They developed a soothing habit over it and were unable to break it because they would do it in their sleep as an adult, like well into their adulthood. And so in hypnosis, we did the regression, 2 sessions, that person never sucked their thumb again, changed their entire life. So it's just, the symptom is not the issue. And in hypnosis, and the issue is very often developed prior to the person's 5th birthday. And that's why I believe hypnotherapy is the most effective way to, I'm very arrogant about the power of hypnosis and what can be achieved and why. And that's why, because I've seen it, I've used it, I've had it work for me.
Yeah, and I had it worked for me as well, and we are specifically talking about regression to cause or the past life, depends where we are landing.
Yeah.
And we see that, just to clarify again, we're talking about here now smaller trauma that manifest into habits.
Right.
But there are also bigger traumas,
Yeah.
any kind of abuse, for example.
Right.
That,
Right. My childhood abuse manifested itself as a phobia.
Yeah, so those type of abuse can manifest into different things. Regression to cause is a good thing to do, or can be a good tool to use. However, we are more careful when it goes to big abusive trauma,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
which is a little bit different than when we deal with, without knowing, of course, at the beginning, with
Yep.
any kind of habitual manifestation. Reframing is very important.
Yeah.
Reframing when we get to the root cause and see things differently, and putting, like, empowering the person, empowering the client while we
Yes.
are getting into the root cause is essential, right? Giving the person tools and strategies to cope.
Yeah. Yes. We cover all of those things in the session because, I mean, we help our clients with each stage of healing those traumas. We create a safe space for them to feel comfortable, and we patiently, re-access that time through regression, and we stay right with them, and we make sure we monitor that they're, feeling okay throughout the whole thing. We're in conversation. We're just, um, empathetic, obviously. I mean, we genuinely care about our clients. This isn't about get in, change your tires, get out. That's not how this works.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a relationship that happens because we have to be a safe place. We have to
Yes.
be um, non-judgmental. We have to be, and that's why we're in this. I mean, when we met in school, Miri and I, we resonated that we're for real. This isn't, we're in this for the right reason.
And so I just want to recap. So we have regression, right?
Yep.
Regression to cause or to past life. We use reframing to see the picture to put a different frame to the picture,
Yep.
using different tools to empower our clients while they are in the moment, in the traumatic
Yep.
moment. And
Yes.
also when they are coming back to here and now, to real life, also equip them with different strategies and tools,
Yep.
because we don't erase the memory or the
No.
experience, but we want them to feel more empowered and more capable about, even though they experience whatever they experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a recent client who I was dealing with some pretty severe anxiety. And, as I think we've said lots of times, anxiety is very often um, a response to an early life lack of control. And this person had been the witness to a trauma, and they didn't even know they were witness to a trauma that was going past them. Like there was very clearly a very emergency response going past, and it was in a very small town, and all of the energy that was around them got them excited and got them like something bad is happening, but they didn't know what, and it was completely out of their control. Of course, they were a very, very young child, um, and so even though they didn't even know what the trauma was, the experience created an anxiety that the
Yeah.
person still carried to this day. And so we were able to help them help their younger self deal with the inner child, and feel better and relieve that lack of control feeling, let it feel settled, and like you said, give them tools. And it's so empowering to just help people through that. So
Yeah.
empowering.
Yeah. And basically what we want is to gain control
Yeah.
and some kind of stability in the moment,
Yeah.
knowing that we
Yeah.
are safe. We
That's right.
can change our way of thinking, the way we perceive the world, and we can go through it. And as we do
Yeah.
it over and over again, we gain confidence that it is possible for us. And because we, like, even in hypnosis, we cannot erase or delete memories or events,
No, no,
but
no,
we
no.
can
We
grow
we can't.
from them.
We can grow from them. And one thing that we can do, which is kind of magical, is we can actually. I often tell my clients' brains to, you know, um, reduce the amount of adrenaline that's being distributed,
Yeah.
slow down the
Yeah,
cortisol in the moment, and have them gain physical control. Because when your body feels safe, your mind can feel safe.
absolutely. Yeah. So, anything else you want to say about how we help our clients to rewire their mind, their brain after they experience any kind of trauma?
Um, no, nothing I can think of, but we should probably say who we are and why we do hypnotic talk.
Absolutely,
We save it for
absolutely.
the end instead of early.
So let's go ahead with it, and you start.
Okay, I am Neota. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. All of my details are below. I practice in person in Nanaimo, BC, and online anywhere on the globe. And I specialize in trauma and regression and just anything that is presenting with my clients. I am there for them in any way that I can be.
Amazing. I'm Miri Malkin, also a hypnotherapist, coach, and emotion code practitioner, and I'm in Vancouver, BC. I mostly practice on Zoom, and yeah, I work a lot with anxiety,
Yes.
fertility, chronic pain, and all of that. And you can see both of our contact information bottom at the bottom with the details about this episode.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and see you next time, Neota and everyone. And one more thing, that of course, if any of you listening have any questions for us, or want to suggest anything, please get in touch with us or leave a comment here, and subscribe to this channel if it's anything that you relate to and you want
Yeah.
to hear more of. So thank you so much, and see you next time.
Bye, Mary.
Bye.